I'm Tony Hall from Navigator Consulting. We're specialist management consultants to the recruitment industry. I'm very pleased that you're going to be joining us to embark upon a fantastic journey with our Recruitment Business Accelerator Program. As you probably know by now, this is 22 years of knowledge. I've run recruitment companies before. I've owned a recruitment company. I've consulted to dozens of owners of recruitment companies and done hundreds and hundreds of hours of research about what makes a recruitment company perform at its very highest level. And I've encapsulated all that knowledge into this program whereby we will solve all the critical industry issues. We will look at some of the success factors that are most important for growing a recruitment company, and also many of the pitfalls that can bring recruitment companies unstuck. So welcome to session one, introduction, which is also covering critical success factors. We're going to go through a lot of really important information to set the scene for the next 9 sessions after this. And make sure you've please downloaded the Business Accelerator Program worksheet, session 1, and make some notes as you go through. So the notes that you make, most importantly, are going to be around actions that you should be taking. It's the actions that we want to collect, and at the end of each worksheet, you'll see there's an area to insert actions with who you're going to be allocating that action to and what time frame that action should be implemented by. If you've got any questions or problems or ideas, please make contact via our website, and we'll be very happy to help you at any time. Let's get started. Okay, let's look at the recruitment industry. In Australia, we have around 6,000 recruitment firms. Now, this includes a lot of very small one-person recruitment companies right up to the big multinationals. So there's a very wide spectrum of firms, but most recruitment companies will be on the smaller side, and they are specialists, and they operate within a very specific market niche. Approximate revenues for the industry is around $11 billion, which is a massive amount. It's an industry that has done extremely well over the years and not necessarily recognised as one of the powerhouses of the Australian economy. But that number shows us that the recruitment industry is a very big, makes a very big contribution to the Australian economy. Now, you'll know that there are very low barriers to entry to the recruitment industry. Anyone can pretty much start up a recruitment company. There is some licensing creeping in for the states, and particularly around labour hire, whereby a great degree of rigour is required in terms of safety, workplace health and safety, and other factors. But I always joke that it's more difficult to open a hairdresser salon because you need a license to be a hairdresser. Yet over the years, there's been very little licensing, quality control, and hoops for recruitment companies to jump through to set up business. So low barriers to entry, and as we know, that creates a lot of competition. It also creates fee pressure, and it also means that there are some unscrupulous operators out there that will generally try and break the rules of engagement and do some unethical practices, which gives the industry a bad reputation. But overall, the majority of the industry does the right thing and operates in a quality and professional manner. And one of the things I'm going to be talking about during the program is how to lift the professionalism of the recruitment industry, because we're still one of the very few industries that will work on a contingent basis. We will do work for free, basically, in the hope that an assignment comes off, a placement's made, and then payment is forthcoming. It's one of the very few industries that does that, let alone on a non-exclusive basis. So we're going to be talking about that as one of the success factors later, of course. So there's a very small group of low margin big players, and having worked for one of the big players, I can tell you that margins are pretty low there. Most of the work that the big companies excel at are global preferred supplier agreements and delivering to those global agreements. The big players do have other divisions that compete against the bulk of our industry, which is the SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, but traditionally they're at the lower margin, higher end of the marketplace. and consequently their net profit margins are a lot lower than the small to medium companies that can enjoy very, very strong profit margins. So mostly in the industry, staff are below 5. You'd be surprised to know that most companies in the recruitment industry are quite small, but there seems to be a lot of difficulty growing from the 1 or 2 person recruitment company, then to 5, 6, 7, and then over 10, then over 20, then over 50. And but I'll be talking more about that journey and what works, what's most profitable, and what I believe is the best size of a recruitment company to maximise performance, but also to maximise the enjoyment of managing that recruitment company. Because some of the toughest parts of running a recruitment company are managing staff and dealing with the issues around attraction, retention, and performance of staff. So consultant performance is generally very low, talking about staff, and on average it's around $200,000 in billings per year for the average recruitment consultant, which might seem like a good return if you're paying that person an $80,000 base salary, which is the approximate average around the country. But when you add other costs, seat costs, superannuation, technology costs, throw in rent and training and everything else that goes around that, that's not a particularly great return on investment. If you've got 50 consultants doing that and you're not turning over staff, then maybe that's okay and you'll have a reasonable return. But what we really want to be achieving is a smaller group of high quality consultants billing double that and returning the business a much higher level of profitability and consistent profitability with low staff turnover. It's very difficult to grow a recruitment company. There's no doubt about that. It's very difficult to source good quality people, and it's really good to retain and encourage the performance of great recruiters. And this is a topic we're going to cover in 2 sessions because it's so important. Okay, reasons to start a recruitment company. Now, you probably know, and you're probably in the same boat yourself, that many people just stumble into the recruitment industry. You might have been a candidate that was applying for a job and the recruiter said, hey, how about join us as a recruitment consultant? And that's really how many people start in the industry. It's also, I guess, an industry that doesn't require a specific business degree, which means it opens it up to a whole lot of different people that may not normally have chosen recruitment as a professional because there is not a specific degree required to enter into the industry. And I think training and development is a real gap in our market and something that we really need to be investing in so that people that do join our industry are trained very, very professionally, and so they are successful and they do stay in the industry. I think career progression is another big factor that recruiters start or start a recruitment company. Many of you might have been very successful recruitment consultants and you have left whoever you've been working for to start up on your own. And generally that happens because really around remuneration and flexibility and autonomy. A good recruiter that's billing a high amount, say the 300,000 or 400,000 that we really hope that each professional recruiter will be remunerated or will be billing, and then have a sizable remuneration on that. I think, yes, so many recruitment companies are run by ex-recruiters, which creates a little bit of an issue in itself because many great recruiters are good at recruitment, but suddenly they're thrust in to the spotlight of running a business as well and not just recruiting. And I use the E-Myth analogy a lot. Michael Gerber's book is really good about this. You have the skill to be a really good technician as a recruiter, but overlaying the skill of being a manager and a leader and a motivator and a business operator are completely different skills that require a whole lot of new learning. And what I'm going to be doing in this program is really trying to make sure that you've got all those additional aspects of a great leader to go hand in hand with great recruitment skills. So others start a recruitment company to have the autonomy of running your own business, and many of us have had that entrepreneurial calling. There is a huge degree of freedom and flexibility associated with that, but the trade-off is very long hours, a huge amount of responsibility, and a lot of pressure to perform. As I mentioned before, a larger share of billings might be a motivator for people to start their own recruitment company. And really, it's easy to start a recruitment business. Pretty much overnight. You can register a company name, you can get a basic website up and running, and you can start calling clients and candidates and matching them together with a really good recruitment management system to back you up. And the final reason that people start a recruitment company is the returns can be very high. If it's done right, if assignments are exclusive and retained, and consultants are performing at the 300K plus per annum level, whether that's perm, temp or contract, then the profit margins can be very appealing, and that does attract people into the industry. So if it's done right, a recruitment agency can be a very, very significantly profitable business, and so much higher than many other professions such as legal, accounting, and even management consulting if it's done right. So here's the typical recruitment agency. As I mentioned, most are less than 5 staff, and there's sort of this wall of resistance that makes it difficult for many owners to get past the 5 staffing level, and I'm going to be helping you with that during the program. There's a small level of profitability. I've seen many recruitment companies out there and worked with many of them, and so many are returning less than 15% in profit margin, and even making losses at times, which in boom times is just totally a big problem, because in boom times recruitment companies should be doing extremely well, but even in tough times it's possible to be highly profitable by working with a smaller group of really good quality clients and candidates, and making sure that every assignment that you're working on results in success, and that will lead to profitability even in tough times. Most recruitment agencies are mostly doing perm recruitment, and obviously to build business value and recurring revenue streams, then having contract or temp revenue is really important. The two really need to go hand in hand, and it really doesn't take much to get some sort of contract and temp going, because when a client might not have a permanent requirement, it should be second nature for a recruiter to say, hey, how about a temporary or a contractor person in the meantime? You can get to know them better. Yes, it costs a little bit more. You can see how they perform, and then you have the opportunity to take them on permanently later. Very high staff turnover, as I mentioned to you, approaching 50%. It's been like that since I started consulting way back in 1998. It's always been high. And I put this high staff turnover down to a number of factors. And one of them are, well, the first factor that I'd share with you is that it's really difficult to be successful as a 360 recruitment consultant. You have to be great at sales, marketing, administration, communication, leadership. There's so many attributes that are required to be a big billing recruiter, and it's very difficult to find all of them in one person. That alone is the major reason why so many people come into our industry and they fail, because they don't have all those skills, and it's not fair for us to expect that they have all those skills. So later on I'm going to be talking about alternative models, so that you can look at ways in which you can open up a bigger talent pool to come in and do the more specific parts of the 360-degree recruitment model. Another reason for high staff turnover is that recruiters are very good at selling the benefits of joining a recruitment company, and then when people come in and those benefits aren't forthcoming, they become really jaded and may even leave the industry, or at least they'll stop off in an internal recruitment role on the way out. And jaded agency recruiters in internal recruitment roles can be very difficult to deal with, and because they've had a bad experience, and they've become really skeptical of working with agency recruiters, which is quite understandable in many cases. The other reasons for a high staff turnover are lack of training in our industry. I really do see a lack of investment in training and development. On the desk training is just not good enough. There needs to be a structured program There needs to be strong mentoring, and there needs to be external training as well from professional trainers, not just the owner of a recruitment company who may have worked for only one or two other recruitment businesses and is very set in that way of recruitment, but that way of recruitment might not necessarily be the best. And it's very difficult to train someone properly when you're running a recruitment business, or having your staff doing the training as well, because they're trying to perform in their own role. So I really support external training, structured training programs, and making sure that your new staff particularly have all the tools to be confident in the work that they do. And your existing staff also need to be have additional training and have more training as they go along, because they will fall into bad habits. They will forget some of the small nuances in a very complex recruitment process. And we've mapped out the recruitment process. The 50 steps will give you access to those 50 steps we've mapped out. And that's an incredibly long recruitment process, one that means that there's so many ways in which things can go wrong. And we want to ensure that quality control is there and success happens. So being such a complex process, it's very difficult for a lot of people to make sure they do all those steps well. And it's made even harder if they're not trained properly to do that. And then the final reason I think that there is a lot of turnover in the industry is leadership. And leadership is a skill that is so important. A great recruiter might not just necessarily be a great leader. So a great degree of care needs to occur when a high-performing recruiter is placed in a leadership position, because, again, it goes down to training. Many people are not trained in leadership. There is not a lot of leadership training out there. A lot of people learn from the way they were managed, if you like, in the past, and often they'll use some of those management techniques or leadership techniques, and they'll default to the techniques they didn't like when they were being managed by someone else, and that's not necessarily the right way to approach it as well. So in our last session, we're going to talk about leadership and the importance of good leadership. And if you have people in your business that clearly are great recruiters but not necessarily great leaders, then it's so much more important to focus them on the recruitment side of the business and bring in additional expertise in a leadership role, people that are really good at mentoring, coaching, leading, people that will get out into the marketplace themselves and lead by example and operate very professionally and mentor those in the business as well. And I really encourage a career path for the people that you do bring into your business. And it may not be to team leader, it might be going through the ranks of consultant, senior consultant, practice manager, that sort of area, so that yes, they can be learning how to lead, grow and mentor, but they're taking the journey slowly, and that you can invest time and effort into developing your leaders. And even yourself, if you're a fantastic recruiter and you really struggle with the day-to-day management of a business and the leadership of staff, I'd say to you straight away, focus on what you're really good at and what you really enjoy. And if you really enjoy recruitment, then you are going to be hugely successful in that role. You'll be able to build more than anyone else in the business because you are more senior and you've got a lot of credibility as a business owner, and you want to free yourself up to be able to do that. And then you just simply find someone else to handle some of that administration, business operations, and even leadership in your business. There's no loss of face if you really want to focus on being a great recruiter by bringing in someone else to lead your business. And I've seen that done extremely successfully in the industry, and really encourage you to have a really good think about what you're best at and what you really want to do in your business. And part of our planning process here is to identify that and have people in the roles that not only are they really good at, but that they enjoy doing. And I think, going back to staff turnover, if people are in roles that they're really good at and they're really enjoying it, they will progress through the ranks and they will stay with your organisation and they'll perform at a very high level. Okay, so what can go wrong in a recruitment company? Well, there's many things that can go wrong, and I've chosen 6 here for you to get a good handle on. First of all, economic downturn. The recruitment industry is a tremendous barometer for the greater economy. When job advertising goes down, you'll see it very quickly, and the performance or the revenue streams in a recruitment company will drop off quite quickly. Economic downturn is a big threat, but I also see it as a big opportunity for recruitment companies. It clears out the unscrupulous and low profitable players, and it really gives existing recruitment companies the opportunity to reinvent themselves, to adjust to a new market, to really focus down on good quality candidates and clients, which I've mentioned to you before, and so that the business is more profitable. It might be smaller, but it's more manageable and it's more profitable, and you will get more enjoyment out of it. I actually like downturns because downturns really give quality players a much better opportunity to stand out, because there's less noise from the players that aren't so good. And once things settle down, the quality players will come out of an economic downturn or a recession much stronger. And it's been shown time and time again over the 4 downturns that I've been through that quality recruitment companies come out of any downturn even stronger than they were previous to that. So the other major problem that can go wrong is poor staff performance. Recruitment companies tend to hire quickly and to fire slowly, and it should be the other way around. Of course, you should hire very slowly and really make sure you're getting great people. We're going to talk about the attraction and the recruitment process of your own staff later. But hiring the wrong people, putting them in the wrong roles that aren't suited to them and don't play to their strengths, and managing them poorly, and then what happens after that is you'll have a group of very marginally performing recruitment consultants that require a lot of work and aren't necessarily returning good margins to the business. So poor staff performance is one of the one of the ways in which recruitment companies can come unstuck really quickly, and increasing staff performance is one of the quickest ways, and obviously, of improving the performance of a recruitment company. What else can go wrong? Strong competition. If you're in a market where you're not specialising, if you are a generalist, then you'll have many more competitors. But if you've spent years developing a very strong market presence in an area of specialty, then you'll obviously have less competition. And competition is obviously healthy because you can stand out, and clients that have had and candidates really that have had a poor performance with one recruitment company, when they come to yours, they're most likely to stay loyal to you if you do give them a great experience and a great result. So strong competition is a double-edged sword. It's good to have competition on one sense, but if you're focused on a very, very broad offering, then that level of competition can put a lot of fee pressure, decrease your margins, and make it more difficult for you to make regular, more exclusive and retained placements. What else? Clients recruiting themselves. Your competition is really not your biggest group of competitors, and you really should be focusing more on convincing clients that outsourcing to a recruitment company is really more beneficial to them, and the factors or the benefits of outsourcing to an agency are many. It means that clients can really focus on the work that they do, and that they're not sifting through resumes, they're not going through a very, very complex process, which, as we've talked about before, should be around 50 steps. And if a client's going through a proper 50-step recruitment process and doing it themselves, how possibly can they concentrate on their day job if they're a line manager? And HR are good at human resources, but their strength in recruitment, that's not their area of specialty. So again, an agency has many years of specialising in recruitment, knows the process, and more importantly, has a network. Whereas a company will not have the same level of network that a recruitment agency does, that has been interviewing hundreds of candidates over the years and has met with many companies. Your network and your market presence, your market knowledge is going to be so much stronger than a client. So cost alone is not a factor. Cost is the driver for companies to bring in internal recruitment teams. And obviously that's a false economy often, because if they don't have good quality internal recruiters that really understand the market and are not overloaded with 50 to 60 roles on at one time, then it's a false economy. They won't get good results, and line managers will be very, very disappointed in the process. And consequently, they'll be recruiting poor people that will end up leaving because they don't enjoy the job or they haven't been performing in it. So clients recruiting themselves should be the real focus. And obviously there's panels and preferred supplier agreements at the top end of the market. We'll talk about them later. And it's a decision for you to make that if you do want to sign up to those panels that generally are put together, in my experience, purely as a cost saving for the company and not really to have a quality spread of quality agencies, because if you're working against 4 or 5 other agencies at a very low margin and it's on a contingent basis, then the chances of success are very, very low, and often it's just not worth doing it, and you are better off leaving your competitors to do that, and you foster more exclusive relationships with other companies that do understand the benefits of dealing exclusively with a recruitment company. Fee pressure is something else that can go wrong, and when heavy discounting does occur, then it leads to many, many issues as far as quality controls, because if you are operating in a competitive low fee environment, then it's all about speed, not about quality, and we all know what happens when it's all about getting resumes across as fast as possible. Quality control will drop, and then eventually it will come back to harm you as the candidate doesn't turn out or you don't make placements. And if you're paying your staff to be unsuccessful in making placements, then that's hugely detrimental to the profitability of your business. And once again, that goes back to consultant performance. If your consultants are working on contingent roles in which there's a high possibility they're not getting paid or they're working at very low fee rates, then you will suffer as a business owner, because you're not going to be covering your overheads, and you're going to have a team of very low margin, low profit consultants working on contingent assignments, which is exactly what you don't want. So fee pressure, I often get told, our market's very competitive, there's low fees, and all that says to me is that the recruitment companies don't have strong relationships with their clients. And if you do have a strong relationship with your client, and you'll know this for the suppliers you deal with, you don't mind paying a little bit extra if you know you're going to get good quality and a good result from that. I say we'll talk about this in marketing more, but if there's ever a reduction in fees, then something has to give. You cannot do full service 50-step recruitment consulting at a reduced fee if you don't take something out of the process or something out of the offering to clients. And one of the big things that I like to be removing if a client ever asks me for a discount is a guarantee period. And a guarantee period, I think, is one of the worst things that can happen to a recruiter, because you have no control once a candidate starts on the job. They're working under someone else, they're working in another environment. You have no control over how they're managed, how they're trained, how they're onboarded. So why should you have to stump up the responsibility for a guarantee if that person doesn't work out for so many reasons? And there's tons of reasons why someone might not work out in your job, and you know them all. And then finally, what else can go wrong? And we've alluded to this throughout this session. Costs, it's really simple. I mean, profit is a function of revenue minus costs. And while it seems mercenary that the profit is the most important part of running a viable, successful and sustainable recruitment company, there is absolutely no doubt that you must ensure that your revenue streams are profitable, that your margins are high, your costs are under control, but most importantly, your two biggest costs are rent and staff. Rent is a fixed cost. You can't do much about that unless you have more flexible working environments, which is the trend now. And you're going to be shrinking down some of your office space to have people working more remotely, out in front of candidates and clients more, less commuting time, less commuting costs, more focused work activities is one of the trends that we're seeing, and that can reduce rent cost. But most importantly, you can't control your cost base as much, but you can control the performance of your people. And again, the themes that you're going to see throughout this program are all about the performance of your people. Consultant performance is the single most important input into building a high-performing, quality and enjoyable recruitment company. All right, and in this program as well, when you go through your worksheet, you'll know that we're looking at the planning process as well. And in the next session, we're going to cover some more business planning. And look, I've been doing business planning for many, many years. Back at EY, we used to charge $60,000 to do a business plan. and we had some very, very large 2-ring binders. We'd deliver 8 of these big binders on a trolley to our clients after a 3-month assignment, and it would cost them $60,000. And now I've got the business planning process down, funneling it down to one page in which you really can focus on the key drivers, because you're not going to remember all the detail, but you need to go through the detailed process, which is what we will. But then you need to funnel it down to one page, which you can pin up anywhere you like, around your house, around your office, to really focus on and not be distracted by all the many activities that can go on and distract from the profitable running of a recruitment business. So the planning process, we're going to cover some of the critical success factors for recruitment firms and how to maximize them. We're going to look at the current state of your business. There's a business health check for you to do. There's a link on the end of this presentation and also on your worksheet to go through our very quick, it's a 10-question health check, and it really identifies where your recruitment business is at and gives you immediately ideas on the areas you need to focus on. So as a diagnostic tool, this very, very, very quick analysis of your business will be very helpful. And then we're going to focus on goals and objectives. So we need to know where you are at now, but most importantly, where do you want to go? And this is what it's all about. Where do you want to take the business? What I've always remembered Stephen Covey's. He wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I always remember his statement: begin with the end in mind. And I actually met him personally in a lift in Las Vegas once when I was over for a conference. Must have been 15 years ago when he was still around. And I remember meeting him, and he was so friendly. He said hi to me, and I said, I just want to tell you the most important statement you've ever made that's going to stay forever in the realms of business knowledge is begin with the end in mind. And he smiled and he said, that's really good. I'm really glad I've made a difference. So he was a lovely man. And so if you haven't read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, if you haven't read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, they are 2 of the quintessential books that really helped me in the early days of my consulting and are absolutely perfect for business owners. And if you don't at least read the books, please Google the summaries and reviews, and you'll pick up a lot of knowledge there. So beginning with the end in mind, where do you want to take the business? And then what this process is all about is how we're going to get you there and how to avoid the pitfalls of what can go wrong as far as getting to that final goal, and what else to improve in your business to ensure we're supercharging your business. And you need to create a strong foundation. Big is not necessarily better. I'll talk about that later as well. You don't need to grow a really big recruitment company. You do need to grow a recruitment company that's easy to manage, that you enjoy running, and is very profitable, because then if times get really tough, it's going to be sustainable through tough times. And also you're going to be building value, you're going to be building revenue streams so that you do have succession at the end. So a strong foundation is really important, and I'm going to give you all the ideas that you need for a strong foundation. And then you need to plan and execute. So planning, yes, what needs to happen, who needs to do it, and by when. Setting deadlines and having a degree of accountability is really important. So only you can have a mentor such as myself, or I sit on the advisory boards of recruitment companies so that I can help with a very friendly level of accountability, so I can make sure that owners do implement what we've agreed to do. But the implementation and the execution are more critical than anything. Many of us have the knowledge to do things. Many of the things that you'll be covering with me in this program, you go, yeah, I already knew that. But the question is, are you doing it? And one of my favorite expressions is, we know what to do, but we must do what we know. So we have to execute. And execution is the hardest thing. We're busy. We'll second guess ourselves all the time. We're distracted, and the squeaky wheel gets the most oil. We'll tend to work on fighting fires and not necessarily work on the business. And that's the other thing that Michael Gerber teaches. We really need to be working on the business and not in the business as much as possible. We need to be freeing up our best senior people to really be in front of clients and candidates so that they can do more, can perform better. And anyone that's performing well and enjoying their role will be staying with you over the long term and go on the journey with you. All right, so we're nearly there as far as this session goes. I want to cover some impediments to growth for you. And straight away, we just talked about planning. If you have poor planning and focus and you don't know where you're going and you're not implementing consistent and constant business improvement, then your business will just be the same way it is. And I've seen so many recruitment companies out there in the journey that I've been on. In the 22 years, I've dipped into the market to manage recruitment companies so that I can really see from the coal faces what's happened. I've challenged myself by recruiting for a full year on top of all the management consulting and board advisory work that I do to see what it's like as a recruiter. And I've got a presentation for you later on that 1 year experience and on how from scratch remotely I billed $388,000 while also managing my management consulting practice. Not that I was really good, but I was just simply following the sort of things that I'll be sharing with you throughout this program. So planning, focus, just so important that you know what you need to be focusing your time on and not, as I said before, to be fighting fires constantly. And many recruitment companies I've seen over the 20-odd year journey that I've had are still the same size. They're still doing the same things. And that might be part of the plan, that they're very happy to be recruiters in a small team and that they're highly profitable and they're putting money away in savings and superannuation for retirement. That's a good strategy in itself, so long as it's not because they haven't been innovating, changing and planning to build where they really want to take the practice. So other implements to growth are no USP or no specialisation, and we're going to cover this in marketing, but the USP, as you well know, is a unique selling proposition. You really need to be able to stand out from competitors. You need to first of all convince clients that they shouldn't be recruiting themselves, and you need to be constantly articulating and communicating the benefits of them using a recruitment agency. Then you need to be selling them on the benefits of using your recruitment agency. And every recruitment agency that I've surveyed over the years said that their major USP or unique selling point is that they provide a quality recruitment service. So if every recruitment agency is saying that they are differentiated by providing a quality recruitment service, then no one is, because everyone's saying the same thing. And that's why we invented best practice certification as an independent way in which recruitment agencies can say, hey, we've been through a very rigorous program to show we are a quality recruitment company, and here's our certification that we got from an industry expert company. Specialisation, really important. You can be a generalist recruitment company, of course, but you must have areas of specialisation within that generalist company, and the people that are working in those specialist spaces need to know their markets back to front. And I'll be covering that as well, on how to do that, how to be a real expert in the areas in which your people are operating in. And you need to be coaching your staff on how to do that, just as you've done it in the past, to become really good at the area you're specialising in. Lack of new and repeat business is a big impediment to growth. It's really costly to bring on new clients. It's really costly if you've spent a lot of money to nurture and bring on a client, and then it doesn't work out so well, and then there's no repeat business forthcoming, and you have to start all over again. So constantly looking for new business, churning clients, churning candidates is really not a great way to operate, and it's expensive, it's demoralising, and it's very difficult to manage. Here it is again, weak staff attraction. If you can't attract good people into your business, if you can't retain them, and if you can't coach them and mentor them to perform, your business will not grow. It's as simple as that. And once again, this is, as you've already picking up from me, is the critical area in any recruitment business, coupled with really strong leadership, coupled with good marketing, good specialisation, and a USP or unique selling proposition that I'll help you develop in this course, so that you can really stand out as a leader, and that you'll get a lot of incoming work coming your way. High staff turnover is an impediment to growth. There's many problems with high staff turnover. I mean, obviously it's hugely costly. You've got to retrain someone else. You've got to recruit someone else. There's the lack of morale that goes with high staff turnover. You'll find it increasingly harder to attract more people into your business if you do have high staff turnover, and it will impede the performance of your existing people if they see lots of people leaving the business, because they'll start questioning themselves why they're remaining, and that can affect their performance, their motivation, and their overall morale, and obviously it affects the culture of your business. So anything that can be done to reduce staff turnover and all these factors here. I mean, this in itself, if you just sat down and looked at these 6 areas here, what actions do you need to put in place? And once again, don't forget to be putting some actions at the bottom of your worksheet that you've got in front of you as well, and or that you're going to go back to after you've watched this session. What actions around these 6 areas. This is a really key part of what we're doing, and we're going to dig down and go into more detail on each of this throughout the program. Finally, lack of clear leadership. I mentioned that to you as well. If you don't have good leaders in place, whether they're team leaders, whether they're a leader of the company, and as I said before, don't be too proud to say, hey, maybe this is not my skill. Your business will absolutely thrive if you bring in someone that their real skill is leadership, mentoring and coaching. It means you don't have to worry about that stuff. You can focus on, say, doing high-level executive search assignments because you love recruitment and you're really honest with yourself and you say, hey, that's what I really like doing. Because then you'll build, 500,000 or more if you can be focusing on doing something you like at the very senior end, because you'll be so much more successful than your junior staff because you can get in front of senior people a lot quicker and a lot easier. You'll have a very strong network that you've developed over the years that you can draw from. And anything that you build as a business owner is highly profitable. And I encourage all leaders in a recruitment business to do some level of recruitment, to keep their hand in, so that they know what's happening in the marketplace, so they can constantly be refining their recruitment methodology and skill, and also set a good example for the rest of staff. Anything that leaders build to cover their cost is highly profitable, as I said, and your bottom line will be very happy if you have got senior leaders doing some degree of billing and not doing administration. All right, so in summary then, 5 critical success factors, and I do an hour-long presentation on this one, but this is a summary of what we've really talked about. Number 1 critical success factor is strong leadership, which we talked about. Good quality recruitment excellence, and remember there's 50 steps in the recruitment process that all need to be done and nurtured very well in conjunction with a really good quality recruitment management system. Staffing, training and development, just so important. The recruitment company that I co-owned and bought into back in 2003, one of the single biggest factors for turning that business around and building it into a high-performing business was staff training and development. We spent a lot of energy into good quality training and development, recruiting the right people and really retaining staff and encouraging them and mentoring and coaching them to perform really well. It's the engine room of your recruitment business. The other successful factor is business planning, as we've talked about, and having a succession plan. Begin with the end in mind. What are you trying to do with the business? Where are you trying to head? And there will be so much less pressure and stress if you know where you're taking your business, as opposed to just chasing your tail around the hamster wheel every day on a day-to-day basis, just fighting whatever fire comes up and trying to hope for the best. If you've got a succinct plan and you know where you're heading with the business, you'll be so much happier and you have a lot more focus. And finally, specialisation is so important, really, to understand your market, to have knowledge in that market, to be a trusted advisor in your market, for clients and candidates to really know you're a high-quality recruiter and your people are high-quality recruiters, and that your people are playing to their strengths, and that they really know their market, they know people in the market, they know the dynamics of their market. They're reading all the press in their market. They're writing articles about their market. They're looking at who's moving in their market. They're having conversations constantly with clients and candidates about what's happening in the market, so that clients and candidates instantly know that they've come to the right person and that they will want to build a more exclusive relationship with you if they know that you are a specialist and you are a trusted advisor in the sector that you're recruiting in. Okay, so that's the end of session 1. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a great foundation, if you like, for the other 9 sessions that we're going to be covering. So please complete the Recruitment Business Health Check. There's a link here, but there's also a link on your worksheet, and there's a link on the front of our website, or you'll find it in our website. And please download the Blueprint for Profit Maximisation, which is everything that we've learned over the 22 years on what makes a great recruitment company. It's in one page. And you might think, hey, we're giving you everything right at the beginning here, but we're going to be drilling down into the detail of each of these ideas so that you know how to implement and what to implement. Because as I said before, it's all very well to have this knowledge. You've probably got some of this knowledge, at least 50 or 60% of this knowledge. I'm here to help you to gain the rest of that knowledge, but most importantly, I'm here to help you, encourage you to implement the knowledge, which is where change and improvement does happen. So please complete the worksheet now that you have. There's some simple questions around this content that you can be asking yourself, which will really help you to know where you're at and what you need to be doing, and then log some actions as well. And if you want to share that worksheet with me at any time, please feel free to do so. I'm happy to comment on it. And then the next step for you, once you've done that, is to go and start session 2. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you found it interesting today, and I hope you inspired and motivated to keep working on the course, because I'm very, very confident that it's going to help you to improve and grow your business, and even more so help you to enjoy running a high quality recruitment company. So thanks for joining me.